Alright, so now we come to the parts of a flower. This is very important. Please listen to this very carefully. Okay, now to start with, the flower arises from the axil of a special leaf. Now, from a stem we know it gives rise to leaves, right? But giving rise to leaf, and then there will be one special place from where there will be an axil. What is an axil? Axil is a point which gives rise to maybe a bud or a flower or a leaf or a branch, correct? So an axil will give rise to new leaf, or maybe new branch, or maybe flower as in a bud, right? Or maybe so that is a axil. But when the axil gives, that's a place when it gives rise to a flower, that is called a bract. So somewhere here is the bract, which this time will not give rise to a leaf, but this time it will give rise to a flower. So before flower, that will have a small bud. Correct? So then we can understand, oh, this time it is not a leaf, this time it will give rise to a flower. That is axil. Okay. Now it is borne on a long stalk called pedicel. What is a pedicel? The flower, the stalk of a flower, the area, the portion of the flower which we can hold. Long, slender, thin place of a flower at the base, that is called a pedicel, right? Now, the upper swollen part, this upper swollen, this is a little swollen. This upper swollen part is called a receptacle. Please get the spelling, pronunciation correct. This, you can also call it receptacle, you can also call it the thalamus. Correct? So this, we are going slowly upwards. So this portion is called the thalamus. Right? Now length of...
Can you please tell me the second sentence? I didn't get it. It is
borne on a long stalk. Don't get carried away by the word bone. That means it is on a long stalk. All of us know now that a flower has a stalk. It has a small, thin, long stick-like thing which we hold. A rose flower. How do you hold a rose flower? By its stalk. How do you hold a shoe flower? How do you hold a hibiscus? By its stalk. That stalk is called a pedicel. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So now this portion is called the...
Ma'am?
Yes, Pragya?
Ma'am, how many flowers can be there in a single plant?
It depends from species to species. A plant can have one flower, a plant can have multiple flowers. It depends from time to time. And maybe, if it's a rose plant, a rose plant can have 5 to 6 flowers at any point in time. But one stalk will have one flower.
Okay, ma'am.
One flower will have one stalk only. There are at times, certain flowers which grow in bunches. In those cases, that is known as a peduncle. One peduncle can have multiple flowers. That's different. Please get it cleared. Peduncle is different from pedicel.
Ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am? Ma'am, it is written that it is pedicel. Ma'am, but in the diagram it is written as peduncle.
Yes, peduncle. That is what I'm saying. That pedicel and peduncle are two different things. Pedicel is basically the stalk of the flower which we hold. Right? The stalk of the flower which we hold is called pedicel. But what is peduncle? From that one stalk, from that one flower, from that one stalk we can have multiple flowers. There are certain flowers, how do I name it? In Hindi we call it rangan flower. Rangan. You will have many flowers together, a cluster of flowers. In that case it will be peduncle. But pedicel will be one. Is it clear?
So, how can we tell which one is a peduncle and which one is a pedestal?
It depends. It all depends from flower to flower. Right? So it all depends from flower to flower which flower blooms in a cluster and which are individual flowers. Which are individual flowers? For example, rose, hibiscus, China rose, jasmine, right? These will all have pedicels. And there are certain flowers which you can make out. They bloom together in group, in clusters, all together. So those flowers will have a peduncle. Okay, yes, Pragya, like roses. Now, going to the next portion, the length of the pedicel. Yes, tell me.
Ma'am, can you show a picture of pedicel and peduncle?
What I'll do is that I will have to continue this class again till the next session. I have not taken out, I should have maybe taken out the difference. So just remind me, I will pull out a picture of pedicel and peduncle in my next class. Right? In the meanwhile, you can also do a Google search. That you can also take it as a homework or an activity and take it, do a Google search on pedicel and peduncle. Take it as
Ma'am,
an
I
activity.
got the picture of peduncle, ma'am.
Yes, it's, these are certain activities now that you're at home. You must inculcate on in all these activities. Take
Ma'am,
it
in
as,
the same picture, like how you showed like that only, it is having peduncle, the heading, and it's labeled, ma'am.
correct, correct. So take it up as a which have peduncles. Take it as an activity. Do it as your homework till your next class. All right, so we will have to go forward to our next portion. So the length of the pedicel varies. For example, there will be certain flowers which will have a small short stalk. There will be flowers which will have a long stalk. So the length of the pedicel varies from flowers to flowers. Correct? You must have seen shoe flower or China rose have long pedicels. Rose flowers have long pedicels. But there are certain flowers which will have very short pedicels. You will hardly get any space to hold the flower. At times pedicels are also absent. These flowers are rare. But there are certain flowers which do not have pedicels, diminished. The pedicels will not have pedicels. You can hardly hold the flowers. Now, receptacle bears 4 whorls. Now the story begins from here. This is the receptacle area or the thalamus area. From here, it has 4 whorls. Please be acquainted by this word called whorls. What are whorls? Whorls are nothing but layers. If I may use the word layers, whorls are basically layers. Layers. Which is the first layer? The first layer is that of sepals, right? The second layer is of petals. The third layer is of androecium, or maybe I can also say it will be pistil.
Pistil.
Yes, pistil or even carpel. Pistil is also known as carpel. Okay, so these are the 4 whorls that are present in the receptacle. All right, now sepals are always green in color. The first portion, the outermost portion, is called sepal. Sepals, many sepals together are known as the calyx. These are many sepals together collectively. Many sepals together are called the calyx. Now, the second whorl, as I said, is the petal. Many petals together is known as the corolla. So these are basically many petals
Ma'am,
together.
I have a doubt.
Yes, please ask.
I was asking that calyx, you said that sepals are always green, and so over here it's written colored calyx, and sepals are like is like a collection of calyx is a collection of sepals, right? So why is it written colored calyx?
I'll come to that. I'll come to that one by one. Thanks for asking this question. See, 99% of the time sepals are always green in color. The first portion, sepals. 99% of the times they are green in color. But there are certain flowers where the sepals are colored. And take it as a homework. Please find out the name of 2 flowers which have colored sepals. That is your second homework for the day. Find out the name of 2 flowers which have got colored sepals. And flowers which have colored sepals are known as petaloid. Flowers which have green sepals are known as sepaloid. We will come to that. Let's not get confused. So this is the second whorl. The second whorl is the petal. One is known as petal, and if many petals come together, they are known as the corolla. The third whorl is the stamen. The stamen has 3 parts. Sorry, 2 parts. What are the 2 parts? It is the anther and the
Filament and anther.
Filament and anther. Very good. We will discuss in details about it in the coming slides. And the fourth whorl and the innermost portion is known as the pistil. The pistil has 3 parts.
3 parts.
Very good. They are the stigma, style, and ovary. Very good.
Ovary.
They are the stigma, style, and the ovary. So are we clear with the 4 whorls of a flower?
Yes, ma'am.
Teacher, ma'am, I didn't understand the fourth.
Ma'am, ovary converts into fruit.
Very good. Ovary converts to fruit. Excellent. Over time, after fertilization happens, ovary converts to fruit and ovules converts to seeds. Excellent. Who had a question? Please ask. Who had a doubt? Any doubt in these 4 whorls?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Okay. Yes, Pragya.
ma'am, lilies and tulips have colored sepals.
Okay, great. So you did a Google search right now and you
Yes,
found out the
ma'am.
answers. Okay, great. So in that case, what will their sepals be known as?
Petaloids.
Petaloid sepals. Very good. We will call them as petaloid sepals. Very good. Excellent. I love this class. You are so instant. All of you are so instant. Very good. So the green color calyx are known as sepaloid and the colored calyx are known as petaloid. So are we clear with this slide? Any doubt? Any issues? Any question? So let's go to the next
Ma'am,
slide.
can you repeat it?
Which portion? Which portion, Neha?
That you have completed the last portion of the stamen and all the 4 types.
The 4 whorls. As I said, the 4 whorls are sepals, petals, stamen and pistil. They are the 4 whorls. We will discuss about it in details. I just gave you an introduction. Now we will discuss about it one by one. Right? So please pay heed. This is the first whorl, sepals, as I was saying. Neha, please listen. This is the first whorl that I was discussing, sepals. What are sepals? Sepals, as I was saying, they are most of the time green in color. Sepals are green in color 90% of the times. Right? Green in color. And they are comparatively smaller in size. They are smaller in size. What is their primary work? Their primary work is to protect the inside walls. The remaining 3 protect the 3 walls which are there inside. It protects, especially when it is in the form of a bud. When we see a bud, what color is a bud? But mainly it is green in color. So that green color is basically sepal. As I said, no, the sepals are green in color. Now, if it is green in color, what will it do? What does green color do in a plant? What will green colors do in plants?
Photosynthesize.
Excellent. It will photosynthesize. That means it will also make food. For whom? For the whole plant, especially for the flower. Correct? And now slowly and slowly the bud is growing. The bud was this small, now slowly it is grown. Now it has become the size of a finger. Now it will grow a little longer. Now what will happen? Slowly the petals will come out. The flowers will bloom. Now the work of the sepal is over. Now the sepals will become smaller because its work is done. Its work is done. The sepals will get smaller. And many a times what happens? the sepals also fall off from the flower many a times. Or else what happens is that it waits till it, till it converts to a fruit, and then the sepals fall down. Right?
Ma'am, if the sepals fall down, then the other three walls will be not protected.
No, so that's what I'm saying. When the three whorls grow up, they develop, only after that the sepal fall off. The sepal will not fall off in the beginning. The sepal will be there till the remaining three whorls develop and become big and become into bloom into flowers, grow into fruits, till the entire process is over. Till then the sepal will be there. Okay. So now we go to the second most whorl. This is the most attractive and the most colorful whorl, which we also call as the petals. Petals have color in them, they have sweet smell, that is the aroma in them. They're the most attractive part of a flower. As we have already discussed, this attracts the pollinators, right? And yes, Yashika, you have a question?
You said about a group of sepals, right?
Group of sepals are known as calyx and group of petals are known as corolla.
Can you repeat? Group of petals are known as?
Corolla, it's written here in the slide, corolla. And group of sepals are known as calyx. Calyx are a group of sepals together. And group of petals are together known as corolla. The entire system is known as a corolla. Okay. All right. So now there are many types of flowers. We know that. Flowers have different kinds of petal arrangements. See, you must have seen even in hibiscus, there are certain hibiscus which have got five petals only. Right? You must have seen hibiscus. There are various species of hibiscus. There are some 100 species of hibiscus of different colors and different arrangement of petals. There are certain hibiscus which have 5 petals. Sorry, have 5 petals. There are certain hibiscus which have 20 petals. There are certain hibiscus which have 10 petals. Right? So there are various types of flowers with different kinds of arrangement of petals. So depending on the arrangement of petals, they have been defined as Polypetalus and Gamopetalus. What is the meaning of Polypetalus? Polypetalus means the petals are free. In case of Gulmohar, please pull out the picture of a Gulmohar flower. When you pull out the picture of a Gulmohar flower, you will understand what they mean, what is the meaning of free petals. The petals are all free, they are all separate. They are polypetalous. And if you also pull out the picture of a petunia flower, the petals are all united, they are together. That is known as gamopetalous. Right, so we have understood 2 types of petal arrangements. One is polypetalous flower and the other is gamopetalous flowers. Right? So this was the second whorl that we discussed, that is the corolla. Any doubt, any question on this?
Ma'am, the Gulmohar flower is very different from all other flowers.
Yes, so have you seen the picture?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it is having 4 petals on the top and at the bottom it is having like 5 petals, ma'am.
Correct, correct.